Hey friends, I'm Jamie Maddox, your wealth embodiment mentor. I teach how you are uniquely designed to attract wealth. In this podcast, I talk about body mapping and money. Body mapping is a unique map on your body that gives information, instructions, and direction for you specifically. Each episode, I highlight one area of the body, discuss its features, and more importantly, what that means for you and your money. So welcome. I'm excited to be on this journey together and can't wait to see what your body can teach you about money. Hello and welcome back. I'm so glad that you keep coming back every week and keep sharing it with people, because here's the thing. The more people that you share this podcast with and the more people that listen to it each week and regularly, the more I have the ability to continue moving forward to produce it, to keep it going, to keep sharing this information. So if you are loving this, if you are learning from this, please, please, please take the time to share with your friends, with people, and let them know about it so that I can continue to grow and continue to have the resources and the ability and the time, energy that I need to produce and get this podcast out. So with that being said, are you intrigued to know what part of the body you're going to learn about today? And, let's just say that I always have to share from my own experience, right? Because I'm only in one body. It's my body, and we're talking about body mapping. So it's easiest to teach from my body. And I also want to respect other people's privacy and where they're at. So obviously, I do share stories about some of my clients and friends and everybody, but it's me and my body, so you get to learn about it. So you're welcome. Okay. We are going to be talking about breasts today, and I'm actually so excited for this episode. And as I was putting it together, I suddenly had like a bajillion ideas and thoughts and examples come to mind. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so our breasts are about our ability to nurture and nurture others. What does that mean? And right off, I actually want to just state, okay, if you have had breast implants, if you've thought about breast implants, if you've had them removed, again, please show love and compassion to yourself, okay? Because there's no right or wrong answer. And with this episode, I want you to just take it as information. And if it shifts your thinking or your understanding, then beautiful, because that is what it is meant to do, okay? So I will be talking about breast implants a little bit later, and why a lot of people, and a lot of women end up getting them removed, okay? And one of the reasons, which, yes, absolutely, they do cause a lot of physical illness and symptoms in a lot of women. I will give you the energetic portion side of why a lot of women end up having them removed, okay? So our breasts are about our ability to nurture and be nurtured. So again, subconsciously, when we look at somebody, we naturally pick up on the size of their breasts and their ability to nurture. So the larger the breasts, the more ability they have to nurture and give support, but they also require more support and more nurturing themselves. And when they feel unsupported in that nurturing, that's where a lot of, resentment and frustration and feeling like people are taking from them, that's where that can come from. So for those of you that have large breasts, you're probably like, oh yeah, I can give a lot of nurturing, right? But also think about it. If you're feeling resentful in that nurturing, what do you need to receive for yourself to feel nurtured and supported? Because when you feel nurtured and supported, you then actually really do have this beautiful, amazing capacity to give in really amazing, big, beautiful ways, okay? But if you're feeling that resentment or that frustration, I want you to take a minute and think, what would help me feel nurtured and supported today? And one of you just thought, nothing. I don't even know. Okay, if you don't know, number one, that's fine. That's totally okay. Take an extra 5 minutes in the bathroom and read a book for 5 minutes, or just close your eyes and take a 5-minute nap in the bathroom with the door locked, okay? Start small. When my daughter was living with me, my friends, I spent a lot of time in the locked bathroom because that was like my one place of Well, and the bathroom locks didn't actually work that well where we were living prior to where I'm at right now. But those few minutes that I could take to just nurture and support myself. And like I said, even if it was literally closing my eyes and taking like a literal few minute nap while I was just like, sometimes I would just sit on the floor and do it. Okay. So it might be something different. It can definitely be more and bigger than that. But if you need a place to start there. Okay. Women that have proportionate breasts, they're able to give and receive without it feeling like they're being taken from or that they're giving too much. And these women tend to be able to hold their boundaries pretty good in the give and receive cycle. Women that have smaller breasts, they tend to be very independent and don't usually require a lot of support from others. It doesn't mean that they don't need support or don't want it or don't appreciate it, but they don't require a ton. And so sometimes we'll look at them and be like, okay, what I've seen is that sometimes people with larger breasts will be like, why doesn't that person with smaller breasts need more people? Like, why do I need so much? It's not a matter of anyone being wrong or bad. It's just that what's required for each of those women to show up and support is different. Okay. So women with smaller breasts, they are very independent. They don't always need a lot of support from other people. They don't need a lot of external encouragement. They also don't tend to give as much external encouragement or external support. So they're not that they're not nurturing. Okay, don't get me wrong here. They are nurturing, but they don't tend to give as much. Okay. So this is where we're going to talk about the breast implants. So it's usually women that have smaller breasts that want to have larger ones, right? Okay. So if your body's natural ability to give support is on that more independent, don't have a ton of extra, don't need a lot of extra support and nurturing. And suddenly you are physically showing up as someone with these large breasts. Again, energetically, visually, we are seeing this person that suddenly has these larger breasts, and we interpret that as, oh, they have a lot to give. They have a lot of nurturing and support to give. And that tends to be why the body, one of the reasons on the energetic side, why the body gets run down and tends to create physical illness and disease and issues with the breast implants, because your body was like, no, our breasts were actually the correct size. We actually don't, we don't need or want to give that much support and nurturing. We're not meant to give that much. And it's now kind of killing us that energetically people are seeing us as someone that has so much to give and so much support and so much nurturing. Okay, is this making sense? And so by shifting the shape of the body with these breast implants, it's literally creating a disconnect and a misalignment with what your natural ability is able to do. Let me just give a couple of fun examples with this. Okay. Again, now this is the part that you're going to find out more about my body than you probably ever wanted, but we're going there. Okay. So, all growing up, I actually tended to have a little bit larger breasts than my sisters, especially the one just older than me. And so whenever we would try on clothes, it was kind of the family joke, like, oh, Jamie can fill out the dress or the shirt or whatever. Okay. So I've always actually really loved my breasts. Okay. Go through life, whatever. A few years ago, when things were very intense with my daughter and I literally was so depleted and so exhausted, I suddenly realized that I needed a smaller and smaller and smaller bra. Okay. Nothing else on my body was changing size. Okay. But all of a sudden I was down like 2 bra sizes, you guys, like a ton. And I was like, oh, wow, I am tapped out. I am giving everything that I have to give right now. Like my ability to nurture and love and support is full. Like I am full. Okay. And when I look at it in relation to where I was in my life and how much I was having to give for my daughter at that time, yeah, I did not have much to give to anyone else or anything else. Okay. So what's been very fascinating is that now that she lives with her dad full time, and I've had a little bit of space and time, you guys, my breasts are the biggest they've ever been in my life. And it kind of cracks me up. So I went from kind of proportionate-ish, maybe a little bit on the larger side, but proportionate, to very small, to now like bigger than I've ever been. And I'm like, wow, these bra sizes just keep changing. Like, can we find a middle ground, my friends? Right? But what it shows is that currently I actually do have time, energy, time and energy and capacity to show up and nurture in a larger capacity, right? With that being said, I also require more to feel supported and to make sure that I am the one that's making sure that I get the nurturing and nourishment that I need, right? Okay, but isn't that so fascinating? Like I said, I debated sharing, but I was like, no, it's been so fascinating for me to watch because I see it so clearly with how my body has shifted and adjusted with my life changes. So can we just celebrate that? Like our bodies are beautiful at adapting to change and to creating more capacity or to letting us know when they're like, actually we're kind of tapped out. We're good, right? Okay. So think about that with like your wealth and with money and with these, the things that you're wanting to create in your life. Okay, first off, your capacity can always change. Number one. Okay. So, and if you're in a place right now where you're like, my capacity is tapped out, honor that. And also remind yourself that your capacity can change. Your capacity can always grow. And it doesn't mean that your body physically needs to grow or get larger to hold extra capacity, but energetically, you can have a higher capacity to hold more wealth, more love, more people, more time, more freedom, more of anything that you're desiring. There's endless and limitless capacity, okay? And you get to choose what you want in that capacity, right? Like, and if you're like, actually, I'm good where I'm at right now, then fabulous, okay? But our bodies are shift and change, our capacity shifts and change. Your wealth can shift and change and continue to grow, okay? But again, it comes back to honoring where are you at right now. So just looking at where you're at. And that means, yes, physically with your body and your breast, but also physically with your wealth, where you're at financially, where your relationships are at, and just getting really honest with where am I at so that I know where to go or where I want to go, right? Now, I do think it is helpful, or at least I felt like this was helpful when I learned this, so I'm going to pass it on. How's that? Okay, so men that have kind of more like what we would term man boobs, this tends to indicate that it's a man wanting and needing more nurturing love and support. Now, does that mean that it needs to come from you? No. They can go within themselves. They can figure out what they need. But if there are men listening to this and you have kind of the man boobs, think, tap into yourself. Like, what nurturing do you need? What support do you need? What will help you to feel nurtured? Okay. This is also kind of just like a random one that I also think is really fascinating. So I'm going to pass it on. But people that are really like obsessed or fascinated with breasts, so a lot of times people will be like, okay, to guys, they'll be like, are you a breast or a butt guy, right? So those that tend to go more to the breast, they tend to want more nurturing and are looking for someone to nurture them. It can also, just in general, people that are more obsessed with breast, they can tend to have a lack of healthy, safe attachments, which kind of comes down to that they're craving that nurturing. They maybe didn't have it or form healthy attachments when they were younger. And so that's one of the things that can indicate that. Now, again, always look at, all sides, the bigger picture, the context, life experience, all of that. But these things, when I started understanding them, it made so much sense. And people started to make more sense to me. And I could understand myself better, right? So, okay, I hope you just found this so fascinating, right? Because it's a fun one, okay? So this week, just tune into where do you feel like you're at with your nurturing, nourishment, and support? Do you feel like you have a good give and receive cycle with that nurturing, or are you feeling a little tapped out? Okay, and this is kind of fun because, it's interesting. So I shared mine are my breasts are the biggest they've ever been, right? One of the reasons that I really, really love doing retreats is because I get to like nurture my clients while they're there. That might sound really funny, but I remember last year when I was preparing for Fiji and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to just like go and like love on these ladies and just be like, let them feel so loved, so supported, and just be like, oh, we're going to have the best time ever. Because that's the thing. Like sometimes we think nurturing, has to be all like soft and sweet and cuddly. And that is one of it. But my friends, yes, am I a soft, sweet, cuddly nurture? Yeah. But you better believe that we're going to have so much fun. And we did, and we always do on my retreats. And the nurturing is a soul level nurturing, okay? Because we just immerse in this beautiful energy and into whatever the intention of that retreat is and that location. And we get really, really deep, but not in heavy ways, okay? Because transformation and it doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be heavy to be deep, okay? One of my mentors, Donnie Angel, says that. She said at a retreat a few years ago, and I was like, yes, it doesn't have to be heavy to be deep. Like we can have so much fun and a lot of lightness and still have deep transformation. And that is the nurturing that I love to provide. I mean, to all my clients, but especially on the retreats. And it just creates this beautiful magic where they get, because a lot of them are moms and, moms that have been doing all these things. That's one of the number one things that I hear from my retreats is they're like, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to think about food. I didn't have to think about transportation. I didn't have to think about schedules. I literally just showed up and was taken care of and had this beautiful experience and had all these ahas and insights. And I felt so rested after. And I'm like, yes, that is the purpose. That is beautiful. Like that's what I love to create. And it literally brings so much joy to my soul. So be on the lookout for some upcoming retreat dates because I'm starting to put them together and get them formulated and get dates set. And so if this is something that you're like, oh, actually, one of the ways that I could really nurture myself is to go sit on the beach for 2 weeks in Fiji. Then my friends, start preparing. I will get you the information soon because probably like 95% or more of you probably need and or want that. So I'm just going to say start prepping because ladies, it's going to be amazing. And hopefully there's more than one retreat this year, but right now we're going to start with the one. So if that is something that you are craving and looking for and wanting to nourish your soul with, then let's make it happen because it's just beautiful. So I love you. Have a beautiful week and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening. Make sure to check back each week for the newest content about your body and your will. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends and give it a 5-star review. Make sure to visit healinghopewithjamie.com for new offers, retreats, and ways to embody your wealthy life.